I have a schedule there, but I didn't need one. Wyoming is always last.
Alphabetical.
Yeah, filing a formal complaint here. I guess when we were on the call with Jared, Holly captured my first thought. It's like we have the preschoolers here being asked to speak to the professors and the leaders of our group. And I thought, well, now this is an interesting concept. But I thought, well, in respect to Jared, I'd give it a shot here and see what happened. My very first thought almost as I started to kind of write down a few ideas was, well, personally I was drug into it, doing the best I can. And then I was told that I wasn't allowed to say that, so I won't.
We didn't hear it either.
You didn't hear it either. But, you know, as you listen back to some of the things that have been said today, Mo touched on it, we have all been asked. Maybe drug into it, it's a little strong language, but, you know, I know certainly I was asked over the years to do this, to do that. And as has been mentioned by the panelists, one thing leads to another, and pretty soon here you are. As far as qualities of a leader, first off, I believe that a leader must lead from the front. You know, I don't know if people are going to follow you if you're in the rear beating on them. I do think that you need someone to help you gather the strays, if you will, keep everybody in line, which is why you need a team. Hopefully, there's a lot of work to be done. I doubt if you can do it yourself. And in that concept, you need to have a team, but I think as a good leader, you need to be able to do all of the jobs, all the functions that you're asking your teammates, your team members to perform, much like a boss on a construction crew might have to jump out of the pickup. He's kind of gotten soft and used to riding around in that truck. But if something goes wrong with the framing crew, he probably better be able to jump out there with a hammer and pitch in and help. One of my first jobs a long time ago was managing a fast food, a national taco chain. And one of the first things that a new employee had to do in order to get their first raise, so to speak, was to make a 6-second taco. And it had to still look like a taco. So, as the boss, you better be able to get in there and make 6-second tacos that look like tacos. Yeah, there was a few of them that didn't look like tacos. Hopefully, if things are going well and you have your team, then I think a good leader is going to spend his time, or her time, coordinating, delegating, coaching, and being a mentor. But in addition to those higher qualities, you know, I think you have to be able to get in and swing the hammer and make the taco as well. I think a good leader, especially in an association like this, you have to focus on recruiting. I think that's probably one of your biggest jobs. You have to recruit all the time. If you're doing a great job of leading and turn around and look and there's nobody there, it's probably effort that's sort of went wasted. As I go around, you know, to some of the local boards, especially we're a small state, small boards, one of the biggest things that I hear probably, you know, are from folks that have been, maybe they've been the board president 2 or 3 times out of the last 5 years or whatever. I think Adorna Carroll affectionately calls them retreads. In a way, when I hear that story, then it makes me kind of want to put on the parental hat. You know, when you have to take your kids aside every once in a while and go, okay, we need to talk. And of course, the thing that comes to mind when that scenario comes up is they haven't focused on recruiting. Somewhere along the line, you know, they have gotten away from the constant effort of recruiting, and they have found it easier to come back and be president again versus go out and recruit some fresh blood. So I think that's a very important thing. I think a leader should stretch the vision of those around, much as this exercise right here. Jaron is exercising his good leadership by sort of pushing us up here on the front plate a little bit and making us stretch our vision. I think a leader must also ensure the success of others. You go out and recruit some people and whatnot, but when they're new, when this process is in the beginnings, I think you have to do everything that you can to make sure whatever, if it was a committee assignment, no matter what they're doing, that they're successful. If they're not successful at those first couple attempts, I'm thinking you may not see them anymore. I think a leader must lead by inspiration, and for me personally, this is probably sort of the hardest thing for me to get a grasp on, or the hardest job, because I guess the thing that I question myself on quite a bit is, do the things that I do, am I an inspiration to others? Because I do believe that's required. So that made me think of a few things. What could you use to be an inspiration to others? And some of those have talked about already. Passion. I think passion for the industry, passion for the association, passion for the leadership roles that you take on, obviously are extremely important. Perseverance. We've had a couple of different stories here about outstanding examples of perseverance. Surely those people around you, if they see you give up, that's not going to inspire them to follow you or to help follow in your footsteps. I think you, of course, and we've talked about this a little bit before, identify. You have to look down line. You have to identify those people that you think are going to have leadership potential, and again, work with them, give them some successes. You have to inspire by setting the example. Again, back to the carpenter or whoever, I think if you really want to be a good leader, you need to be out there in the trenches. You need to show the folks around you that you can do the job. And then lastly, I thought about a few things of the benefits of leadership, and we even talk about that in the installation scripts that we have. And of course, personal growth is probably number one on that list. The places you go, the things that you do, and what you learn about in your leadership roles. There's a lot of things that are growing on my personal, never thought I'd be doing anything like this list. This is one of them. Check it off. Another great benefit of leadership is seeing accomplishment, much like a builder gets to drive by years later and say, geez, I was involved in building that house, or remodeling that structure, or building that highway, or whatever it was. As a leader, you can look back and see the changes that you've affected, seeing policies that you've helped put into place, and see those kinds of things grow. Just the feeling of satisfaction, feeling that you've done your part for the association, and really any association is only as good as the leaders that they choose to lead it. So, with that, I guess it's a great honor, and that's probably one of the greatest benefits, is the honor of knowing that we have all these members out there that have entrusted you to take their message, to take care of their interests, to take care of their money, a lot of things. So in closing, I think a great leader needs to remain humble and focus on these different things that we've talked about, focus on things that make a great leader, and not necessarily focus on being a great leader. Thanks.